Yo, what's poppin'? Upcycle squad, we have a studio tour today, sweatshop, whatever you want to call it. Gonna break this video into 3 parts. Number 1, what I've got, where I got it, and how much it costs. Number 2, my wish list, things I want, things I'll have in the future. And then number 3, things I use technology-wise, devices, software apps. Yeah. Here's a quick little scopage of what we're working with. This is pretty much the cleanest it's ever looked because I just got a new machine. Starting off with machines. This was my first industrial machine. It is a Wilcox and Gibbs with those numbers. This is a 3 or a 5 thread with a chain stitch overlock machine. This thing is an absolute workhorse. Costed me $200. I got this for my 17th birthday on Facebook Marketplace, but I've seen very similar or the exact same for around that same price. It's super heavy, but it surges like an absolute go. And I usually just use it for a 3 thread, and won't even lie, the chain stitch is kind of messed up right now. Moving on to my baby lock serger. This is my only other serger. Does a 4 thread overlock. This was actually my great grandmother's machine, so I got it for free, but I'm always on the hunt for a new machine. So I see these all the time for like 50 to 250 around. You can find one for cheap. Moving on to my Juki DDL 8700. I love this thing with all of my heart. It has never done me wrong. All it does is a straight stitch forwards, backwards, but it stitches so damn good. I've had this machine for 3 years. I've adjusted the timing maybe once or twice, and otherwise it's just been cranking. I found this on Facebook Marketplace for around $700, but honestly recently I've found ones in the more like 400 to 600 range, so it really depends on where you're at. This is my setup for light to medium weight fabric, so I use anywhere from like a size 10 to size 14 needle. Moving on to my next machine, it might look a little bit similar because it's practically the same machine, but this is the DDL 8700H. This is my setup for medium to heavyweight. So I'm sewing more like denim, leather, canvas, and I use anywhere from like a 16 to 21 size needle. It's literally the same exact machine, except for it has heavier feed dogs, a little more pressure on the presser foot. And then believe it or not, this little thing is different, which allows for thicker threads to be used. I know it might seem like overkill to have 2 of the same machine, but it was worth it for me because I'm always switching from different materials. So I don't have to like change the needle and even sometimes the timing when you're going from a very small to a larger needle. And I can have 2 jits sewing at the same time, which is honestly super clutch because sometimes, it can get lonely down here. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I bought this machine on Amazon. It was on sale. All right, sue me, but I don't plan on getting rid of this machine anytime soon. I've had this one for almost 3-4 years, and this one hasn't done me wrong. Another difference is on the normal DDL 87H, it has the seam allowance markings. And on the DDL 8700H, it has a different needle plate, so it doesn't have the markings, so I just had to mark them myself. This one costed me around $780 or so, free shipping. I did have to build it, but well worth it. Really wasn't that hard. Moving on to my next machine. This is my Bernina 1030. It is a quilting machine, but I primarily use this for zigzags and even bar tack sometimes. I was kind of testing out some keyholes. This one kind of looks like a minnow or something else. I didn't say it. This was also my great grandmother's machine. This thing is fully metal, which is not something you see nowadays with these home sewing machines. I'm gonna make another video on what I think is the best machinery to start with, but for a little bit of foreshadowing, I used to always recommend the Singer Heavy Duty because it's affordable and it does work pretty well, but I've already cooked 2 Singer Heavy Duties and just donated them because I could not fix them. And this one's been cranking along because it's fully metal, and oftentimes the older ones are just built better. I was handed this down, but I've seen similar ones, even the exact same one, for anywhere from like $100 to $300. And as a segue to my next and final machine, cheat code for making your own clothes is just let it be known. Not saying run around the block telling everyone you see that you make clothes. I mean, you could, but the fact that my community knows that I make clothing has brought me so much fabric and zippers, and even this next machine that I was just given for free absolute beauty. This machine is a Sears Kenmore. That's the model number 148-12040. It does a straight stitch and a zigzag, which is all you need. Folds into the cabinet, made in Japan. The reason these machines are so nice, and you'll see a lot of these if you look online, is because they are virtually an industrial machine. Not quite the same amount of power as an actual industrial machine, but I accepted this machine to do heavier zigzags, even bar tacks and buttonholes. So the Bernina will be my zigzag for light to medium weight, and this will be my zigzag for medium to heavyish weight fabrics. And I see these machines on Facebook all the time for like $150. So worth it. Some of them are absolutely ancient, so I'd be careful when buying. Definitely test it out, but virtually industrial and very affordable, fully stainless steel, zigzag straight stitch. That's all for sewing machines, but now we're kind of in my little photo shoot corner. I've got my little tripod that holds my phone, and then these lights. I got these lights, I think on Amazon, I know, sue me. But they're LEDs, so they'll last forever, and that just lights up my photo backdrop. I actually found this nice little stand for the photo backdrop at the thrift store, and then I just bought this little photo backdrop, so I just drop it down, set up my lights, grab my tripod, and flick up. Currently got my puke hoodie hanging on this, and when I'm not using it, I just flip it up. And another great example, someone just gave me this Balenciaga shirt. They're like, yo, you sew, right? Like maybe you could upcycle it. And the most ultimate Goodwill find is this dress form. It is a male dress form. Found it at Goodwill for $50. Can't say I use it all the time, but it is nice to have if you're fitting a jacket. The shelves kind of speak for themselves. I got my patterns in these little envelopes, bunch of various stuff, hardware, zippers, fabric. I use only secondhand fabrics, which I kind of think is the best of all worlds because they're cheap. And what you're finding is just so unique. So I kind of buy fabric anytime I see fabric that I like. Could maybe work on a little organization. But moving on to my cutting table. I found this table on Facebook Marketplace for $150, and it goes down or up, which is kind of nice because if you cut a lot, your back be hurting. I bought this cutting mat, I think from Joann's, and then found this big one at the thrift store, and I kind of just configured it to fit as much of the table as possible. I mainly use a rotary blade to cut, so having these cutting pads is pretty essential. Next up, we have my ironing board. This is a custom cover. Make sure to check out my video I already made if you want to make a custom cover. Ironing boards are cheap, and this iron is pretty standard. It does the job, but super important if you want to make good clothes to have an iron. I do often pattern on this table, but if I'm feeling like switching it up, I just fold up that side of the table, put this machine on the floor, and then I use this sometimes as my patterning table. And then I'm always just buying random rolls of paper anytime I can find them because there's never too much pattern paper. Got a nice little mirror to try on the fits. I found this denim at the thrift store for $6.50, and it's already like aged and wearing so crazy. It's like that's 2 days of wear. I personally can't imagine a world using new fabrics, but hey, whatever floats your boat. Moving on to my hardware station. This is also where I screen print. I bought these handy little hinges on eBay. So you just pop your screen in, print, lift, print, you get the deal. And then I have 2 different presses. This one I use for my rivets and buttons, and then this one I use for eyelets. Super clutch. I could probably just have one, but I don't like switching the die all the time, so I have 2. I got this one from Japan as a set. I think it was around $80, And then this one was like 40 or 50 bucks on eBay. And the screen printing setup is super cheap. I'd say in total cost me around 50 bucks. I have another video about all that if you want to watch that. We're getting kind of close to the end here. This is my tool cart, so I have various bits and bobs, pens, pencils, measuring tape, clips, pins, bunch of fly zips, random hardware, buckles. It rolls around, so it's kind of nice when I'm clipping and pinning and ironing and moving around and dancing. Pretty much one of the most important things I have in this studio is my Sonos speaker 1 and 2. Music is a key part for me in my workflow, so yeah, having good speakers. I bought the white one, that's like an old one, for 50 bucks, and then I bought the other one brand new for around $200. Spend that again 10 times over. I got a fridge if I'm trying to crack a few brewskis with the broskies. And then finally, I have my pegboard with some various tools, pattern rulers, scissors, you get the deal. And then all of my thread. I bought this on Amazon for around $30. Holds all of my thread and so much else. I recently got this and I love it. I'll hit you with my wish list really quick and then we can get into some of the tech that I use. All in all, I'm pretty set with what I have and I could do pretty much exactly what I do with less. But the only other machines I would consider I'm gonna have is a nice bar tack machine for jeans belt loops, a solid walking foot industrial machine, and then a Reese keyhole buttonhole machine. Finally, let's move on to the tech. So if you couldn't tell, I film everything on my phone. Short form video, long form video. I think it's amazing that you can pretty much run a business completely from an iPhone. So I do most everything on my phone, but I do also have an iPad where I use Procreate if I ever want to rip off Chrome hearts or do various digital designs. And now I will show you the apps I use, literally every app I use to run my brand. I use them primarily on my phone, but I do also have them on my iPad. Massive one is CapCut. I'm a CapCut warrior. I edit all my videos on CapCut on my phone, even my long form YouTube videos that are like an hour long, it's CapCut. Shameless plug. I've just found it's the most simple and effective way to edit my videos, so that's what I use. Next, I use Shopify for my website and everything that I sell. That's pretty much what everyone uses, if you didn't know. And then Photo Room. I like Photo Room. It's nice. You can use any photo, take out the background like that. It just scoops it out. And then you have a clean photo without a background, or you can do a black background, whatever you want. And also I use this app called Scroll sometimes. This is for Instagram when I'm doing like a carousel. Let's see what I've got in here. So yeah, my carousels, you can make them connect. All right, it's not digging me right now, but Scroll is kind of dope. Here we go. For formatting your carousels, etc. And then obviously these photos of me are just the backgrounds taken out in Photo Room. That's pretty much about it. Do let me know if you have any questions about anything, and let me know what videos you'd like to see in the future. I want my platform to be primarily educational, so showing you how to do what I do so you can do what I do and have a great time doing it. There really is no other more fulfilling way to go about fashion than to make your own clothing, and finding affordable secondhand fabrics hasn't been hard for me, so I'm sure you can do the same. I've got some absolute banger YouTube videos coming out soon, so stay tuned, like and subscribe if you want to, and I love you.